Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Imola and race 2 of this Ferrari Challenge weekend, round 6 of the season for 2019. 30 minutes up for grabs in terms of race time for our Coppa Shell drivers who are about to take to track. The 2019 calendar then that has included Bahrain, Spain, Austria, France, Germany, and now 2 dates in Italy. The first of those here at Imola, and then of course the glittering finale mondiale to come at Mugello right at the end of October. So here we are then, this challenging 4.9 kilometer circuit in Imola. So much history steeped around this place. 21 turns, 12 of them left-handers, 9 of them right-handers, and one of the few circuits in Europe which runs in an anti-clockwise direction. Each and every sector of this circuit is very challenging indeed, and some smooth flowing sectors, others much more technical. The air temperature 27 degrees, track temperature is 34. The humidity, as you can see on screen, is some 44%. Beautiful backdrop, beautiful circuit, beautiful racing cars. What could be better? Ferrari Challenge with official Ferrari GT driver Giancarlo Fisichella here on track and working in race control of this weekend as the driver advisor. Let's take a postcard of Imola right now. So a nice graphic indication of the area around Imola. It is a magnificent place, and the grid is packed with people ahead of the start of race number 1 for today, race 2 across the weekend. Corinna Gosner having done a fantastic job. Giorgio Senegiotta there just passing on final words of advice to Corinna Gosner. Pole position for her alongside will be Fons Skelterma, who will be going from P2 on the grid, ahead of John Ferrano and Murat Kuhadaroglu. Those the first 2 rows of the grid. And there the Hublot safety car about to lead the cars away on their formation lap for this 30-minute race to come. As we reach the sharp end of the championship, it is mathematically possible for Tani Hanna to take the championship this weekend in this race, but his starting position is not where he would like to be. Fons Skelterma, though, just hearing from Nicky Kadai there alongside him. He is going from P2 on the grid, so front row start for Fons Skelterma, which is very good indeed for the Kessel driver. And once again, Giancarlo Fisichella then just standing by before heading off to race control, where he will base himself for the course of the race, offering driver's perspective, if you like, to race control and the race director. So a big grid of cars, including John Ferrano, who goes from P3 on the grid at 1:45.456 for John Ferrano. Did a good job in the race yesterday, was on the podium having taken P3, and in a very good position to replicate or even better that in today's race, I would suggest, from P3 on the grid. Lots and lots of interest, as you can see, ahead of the start of race 2 of the weekend for the Coppa Shell drivers. And that is a wonderful shot of the start straight here at Imola, which is not really a straight. There's a couple of kinks in there. And in the bathed-in sunshine as it is today, it's a pretty good place to be. So Corinna Gosner then did a brilliant job in qualifying to put the car on pole position. This is Eric Chung, who is 7th fastest of the Shell drivers. He goes from P7 on the grid. for Formula Racing. A mix of drivers, of course. We have our Coppa Shell drivers and then the AM drivers mixed in as well. Both classified separately. So we are into the sharp end of the 29 season. What does 2020 hold for us?
The new calendar for next season 2020 is incredible. It will start in Mugello on the 5th of April, then we will go in a F1 circuit like Spa and Barcelona, and not only, and Finali Mondiali to be announced.
It is a very exciting calendar for 2020. Finali Mondiali to be announced, but as the calendar was revealed here at a glittering reception on the Friday evening of the race weekend, it was met with a great deal of delight from drivers and engineers and race teams and supporters alike. It's a very good calendar for 2020, that's for sure. A lovely drone shot, that is. Back to business, though. We've got a race to be done, and there you can see the cars just about ready for their formation lap. Here comes the grid in full for you. Corinna Gosner from P1, von Skeltermar alongside, then it's John Ferrano and Murat Kuadaroglu, Ernst Kirschmeyer and Christian Kinch. Now, Ernst Kirschmeyer had an off in quali, so hoping he's in a spare car because his original car is still in the Parc Ferme. Then it's Eric Chung and Laurent Demers, Giuseppe Romelli and Thomas Gosner, then Tanny Hanna and Henrik Janssen occupying P12, and therefore rounding out row 6 of our grid animation that you can see. Andreas Segler goes from P13, then it's Alex Fox and Ingvar Madsen, Alexander Nussbaumer, Agata Smolka and Guy 4, and Guy 4 then rounding out row 9 of the grid, a packed grid of cars, some 28 with Ken Abe and Tommy Lindroth and Charles Rupp and Henrik Kamstrup and Werner Genter and Matthews Weibo going from P23 and P24. And the final rows of the grid belong to David Lim and Roberto Carver and Mikhail Simonchik then. And that the full grid for this race. Looking at the back end of the 168 David Lim car. And just about ready now for the grid to be cleared, and therefore for the start sequence of the race to get underway. 30 minutes of race action to come from the Ferrari 488 Challenge Coppa Shell drivers. Coppa Shell race 2 of the weekend then, as the engineers and team principals make their way down the pit lane. It's down to the car and the driver now to deliver in this 30-minute race as the engines are roared into life then. Turbo-powered 488 cars and a pit lane start for Tommy Lindroth in the 127 car then for Baron Motorsport. Tommy Lindroth should have been P19 on the grid, but car having to be worked on. Florian Merckx there, you could just see closing the door. Florian is Tommy's driver coach, former Ferrari champion Florian Merckx. On board with Agata Smolka then, as the safety car has been released. The Hublot safety car on its way, and just a few seconds later the cars will be released. And Tommy Lindroth then from the pit lane, means he will pick up the back of the grid as the cars are released on their formation lap and are on their way now around this 4.9 kilometer circuit. So pole position then for Corinna Gosner. Her father Thomas was a race winner yesterday. Let's hear from her.
Hi, I'm so happy for my qualified time. Imola, it is such a nice track. I'm so happy with my team and racing, and I hope the race will go very good for me. Bye-bye.
Corinna, you've done a great job in quali. You put the car P1. Can you convert that into the race win and make it double bubble of success for the Gostner family this weekend? All the social media for the Ferrari Challenge is at the top of the screen right now. We urge you to be part of it. Become part of the Ferrari family then, and the Ferrari Challenge with the social media. Great shot there, and that gives you some idea of the elevation changes here at the Imola circuit as the cars make their way through turn number 12 now. Acqua Minerale, and begin that climb up through turn 13 towards Variante Alta, which turns 14 and 15. That chicane that is where the Hublot safety car picks the cars up, and runs down now towards turn 18 and 19, the Ravazza turns. Two of them, Ravazza 1, Ravazza 2, before you're back out onto the start-finish straight once again. Safety car will go off into the pit lane, and the cars side-by-side order for the start of the second of the Coppa Shell races this weekend. The lights go green and we go racing. Autodromo on a bit of a move already. Corinna Gostner trying to convert that P1 into the race lead, being squeezed by von Skeltermar. Corinna Gostner holds on to it. She goes around. Von Skeltermar is tagged, so is Autodromo, and various others caught up in the melee then through the Tamburello turn. Feels sure that the safety car, whilst it's come in from the formation lap, is probably going to be thrown right out of the pit lane again, because we have got stricken cars across the track, including Autodromo and also Corinna Gostner. They were side by side, von Skeltermar and Corinna Gostner going into the Tamburello turns, and there was only room for one. And sure enough, safety car has been called for. So here we can see again, Autodromo made a really good start. Von Skeltermar and Corinna Gostner side by side here. Unfortunately, Von's onto the loose stuff, connects with the back end of Corinna Gostner, and Autodromo, unsighted, kind of had nowhere to go but clatter into the side of the already pointing in the wrong direction Corinna Gostner car. There you can see Murat thought he got away with it, and then just clattered into the back end by the still spinning at that point Corinna Gostner car. And from being on board here, see how it all unfolded. Another one called out in the melee, the John Ferrano car, who of course was at the sharp end of the pack as well. So thankfully John Ferrano is out of the car and he's perfectly okay. Now the Corinna Gostner car looks pretty damaged as well. The rear wing is hanging right off, but Corinna is absolutely fine and exits the car now, but she'll be bitterly disappointed, having done such good work to put the car into P1 in qualifying, and not even 4 turns completed before the car is turned around and is out of the race. So big disappointment. So you can just just see the safety car bringing the cars around. Let's see the start in replay once again. So as the lights went green, Murat Kuhardaroglu was on a charge. So too was John Farano. Now Fons Skelterma and Corinna Gosner are absolutely side by side as they head into turn number two, the start of the Variante Tamburello. But now we pick them up as they heading towards the lighting gantry once again. At this point, it seemed like it was going to be the perfect start because the cars all absolutely side by side, exactly as they should be. We've had a number of times where starts have been under investigation, but on this occasion, I don't think there was any need to investigate it. Everyone appeared to be where they should be. 3 cars queued up in the pit lane, ready to join the back of the pack, as you can see. And now Corinna Gosner having to walk away. Her race is done. The incident involving Fons Skelterma and Corinna Gosner then is going to be under investigation, and Murat Kuhardaroglu, another one of the casualties. He'd made a really, really good start, but then just got caught out by the spinning Corinna Gosner car and was sideswiped, and that's taken him out of the race. Here it is again. Fons and Corinna are side by side here. It's difficult to apportion blame here. I think Corinna squeezes Fons a little bit. He gets out onto the loose stuff, loses the back end of the car, which of course angles it into the back end of the Corinna Gosner car, which as it's spinning catches Murat Kuhardaroglu. Couldn't quite see how John Farano got caught up in that as well, but he did. So that basically means, of course, Corinna is out, Murat Kuhardaroglu is out, John Farano is out. Fons Skelterma is effectively leading the race. Here it is again. Where did John Farano get tagged? I think the front end of the spinning Corinna Gosner car first of all caught John Farano, and then Murat Kuhardaroglu caught John Farano. Thanks so much for that replay. That explains it now all absolutely perfectly. So not the start of the race that we expected, and unfortunately, as I've mentioned before, all the hard work that Corinna Gosner did, as Manuela Gosner, her sister, walks out of the garage now and onto the pit wall of MP Racing. Be bitter disappointment, but Corinna has walked away from the car and is perfectly okay. And whilst we continue with the safety car, we take a look inside challenge. So taking a look inside challenge then, as the cars are still behind the Hublot safety car, as the stricken John Farano, Corinna Gosner and Murat Kuhardaroglu cars are cleared out of the way. A reminder to you that the incident is under investigation, but having just looked at another replay again, we kind of think that probably Fons had, he was being squeezed and had no alternative. And there was nothing he could do to slow the car anymore or avoid the contact. But that is for the race stewards to decide. Clock continues to count down then as the cars maintain their laps behind the safety car. The order is Fons Skelterma, Eric Chung, Christian Kinch. And in the AMS, it's Giuseppe Romelli, Agata Smolka and Henrik Janssen. And inside the Formula Racing garage now, continuing to watch everything that's going on. There is Manuela Gosner and Massimo Pepe then for MP Racing. And we know that Corinna Gosner is on her way back to the pit lane. The car will be making its way back to the pit lane on the back of a truck, sadly. There is Ingvar Madsen. So the cars that we will have lost out of the race then, the 156 car of John Ferrano, the 173 car, of course, of Corinna Gosner, and also the 133 of Murat Kuhardaroglu. In the points yesterday, finishing P10. So certainly another lap behind the safety car, and as soon as we're advised when the safety car will be coming in, we will bring that to you. You may recall that Ernst Kirchmeier had a off in qualifying, and he's being shown as being on the timing screen running in P23 with sector times, which would indicate he is out there, but in a spare car. Standings then as they are at the moment: von Skelterma from Eric Chung and Christian Kinch. Then it's Thomas Gosner, Tani Hanna and Ken Aib. We're on board with Aggie Smolka. And it's Andreas Segner and Guy Ford, Charles Rook. Again, so you can see the positions 7, 8, 9, 10. In the AM classifications, Giuseppe Romelli from Agatha Smolka and Henrik Janssen ahead of Laurent Damours, Alex Fox and Alexander Nussbaumer. First third of the race duration is already done, and the better part of it has been behind the safety car. And the lights are still on the safety car, which incidentally is driven by a guy called Beppe Scanetti, a former Ferrari Challenge champion, an absolutely brilliant driver. And we go on board his car right now as we look back and climb up the hill and then begin to go down. Here at this Imola circuit, von Skelterma are weaving from side to side to maintain temperature in the tyres. Are the lights out now on the safety car? They are, so the safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap, one assumes. And we will go back to racing. So the very distinctive 168 car of the Formula Racing driver David Lim, all yellow with the checkers down the middle. And sure enough, safety car has gone away, and so now it's down to von Skelterma to control the restart, and he'll be chased by Eric Chung and Christian Kinch and Thomas Gosner as well, as we go racing proper now with just under 19 minutes of race duration left on the clock. Skelterma leads from Eric Chung, Christian Kinch, Thomas Gosner. Best of the AM drivers, Giuseppe Romelli, then it's Aggie Smolka. Then it is Tani Hanna, who's tucked in behind the 186 car as they make their way through. Variante Tamburello, the scene of such a disaster right at the start of the race. They're heading up towards Villeneuve now. Turns 5 and 6 on this really challenging Imola circuit. Before then, the very sharp turn number 7, which is Tosa. And that's where von Skelterma is right now. Begin to climb uphill towards Piratella. You go through this kink, which is turn number 8, before the left-hander, which is turn number 9, the Piratella turn. And the battle for P2 is between Eric Chung and Christian Kinch. And Eric perhaps feeling a bit under pressure now from Christian Kinch. Of course, what this is enabling von Skelterma to do as he exits the Acqua Minerale is just to escape up the road and try and build as big a gap as possible between himself and the Eric Chung car behind. So Eric Chung focusing on defending from Christian Kinch. Well, a drive-through penalty for von von Skelterma. That means that the leader of the race, or the leader of the race, is going to become Eric Chung, assuming Christian Kinch can't get past him. Because von Skelterma has been awarded a drive-through penalty. Now he has to take that within 3 laps of that penalty being awarded. Now, I don't doubt for a moment that Ronnie Kessel will be trying to talk to race control now, but I don't think in my years and years and years of being involved in motorsport that I've known for a drive-through penalty to be rescinded. There is Aggie Smolka in the 186 car. So von Skelterma sets the fastest lap, a 1:49.023, all of which is completely in vain because he's going to have to come in to serve that drive-through penalty. Tanny Hanna then doing his level best to get past the 186 car of Aggie Smolka ahead of him. There is Christian Kinch. Thomas Gostner getting a bit closer to Christian Kinch now, and Eric Chung building something of a gap between himself and Christian Kinch by about a second. So Eric Chung is on the move now. Oh, a bit of a wobbly moment there for Thomas Gostner, who's being chased by Giuseppe Romelli. Although Giuseppe Romelli, of course, is in a different class, but he's leading the AM battle at the moment. As the cars making their way through as they come downhill. The left-handers lead us back onto the start-finish straight. Ravazza 1 and 2. Fons, to my knowledge, has not come into the pit lane yet. He's got another 2 laps within which to serve that penalty. On board with Aggie Smolka then, who is P2 in the AM classification at the moment. Being chased by Tanny Hanna, and she in turn, of course, is rattling over the curbs and chasing Giuseppe Romelli, who is leading the AM class currently with under 15 minutes of the race remaining. Von Skelterma, who'd built a 2.2 second lead, as you can see, over Eric Chung, and Christian Kinch is really under pressure now from the hard-charging Thomas Gostner. So Christian Kinch is running in P3, which will become P2 when Fons comes in for his drive-through. So doing some calculations here, and by our reckoning, for Hanna to clinch today, he would have to finish ahead of Eric Chung. Tanny is running P7 on the track at the moment. Eric Chung, of course, running in P2. So some work for Tanny Hanna to do to be able to secure the championship today. Race leader on track. Here's P2, which should become P1. Then there's Christian Kinch and Thomas Gostner. Giuseppe Romelli then still being chased hard by Aggie Smolka. This battle for P1 in the AMs between Giuseppe Romelli and Aggie Smolka. Giuseppe Romelli didn't take a finish in the race yesterday. Conversely, Aggie Smolka was on the podium taking P2. So, Giuseppe desperately trying to right the wrongs. In comes von Skelterma. He takes his drive-through penalty. I suspect inside that car he will be fuming. Nicky Kadai there, you can see, ushering him on. Nicky Kadai. Oh, and Tanny Hanna is out. So that is the Tanny Hanna car. I only just caught the Tanny Hanna car spinning. Now that's really beached and damage to the front end of the car. There will be a safety car for that for sure, because that's going to have to be recovered from there, and it's not somewhere. Here we can see it. Oh, and Tanny Hanna just lost out. Basically, he was on the grass, and that has taken out Giuseppe Romelli. And basically, Tanny Hanna, I think it looked like he missed his braking point. and ended up on the grass. Let's pick it up again. There. Comes from a long way back and wipes out Giuseppe Romelli, which of course, Aggie Smolka goes straight into the lead. So Tanny Hanna, who could effectively have sealed the championship this weekend, certainly ain't going to now. And there is the car that was leading in the AM classification, Giuseppe Romelli. So Giuseppe Romelli and Tanny Hanna are out. You can sense just how cross Giuseppe Romelli is. I mean, he was completely and totally innocent in that. No question. And under the safety car, I mean, that is an absolute no-no. Alex Fox and Alexander Nussbaumer. Goodness. That will certainly be looked at by the race stewards. On board with Aggie Smolka, who is now the AM leader, because Giuseppe Romelli has, well, oof. As you can hear there, there's plenty of gravel on the track. And you can hear Aggie Smolka shouting at her pit crew. Oh. So there it was Alexander Nussbaumer and Alex Fox, and that was, I mean, as clear as day. The safety car board was out from the marshalling point ahead of where those two made contact. So we're behind the safety car for the second time of asking in this Coppa Shell race. The order now is Eric Chung, Christian Kinch and Thomas Gosner. Now, if there is a beneficiary of this safety car, well, obviously Aggie Smolka is one, so too is Von Skeltermark, because he'd just taken his drive-through penalty. And he finds himself now back in the race and is in P8 in class, I believe. P15 on the track with a lot of cars ahead of him, but he has managed to get himself P8 in the class. So he will argue he was misfortunate to have that drive-through penalty in any event, and it was a really tough call, I must say. But the second safety car phase has actually helped him. So the cars continue behind the safety car with Chung, Kinch and Gosner, the 1, 2, 3 in the Shell drivers, and Smolka, Janssen and Laurent Demers is P3. Let's take a look at some highlights to music now. So Eric Chung then virtually in the boot of the Hublot safety car, which is going to do at least another lap because we're on board with it. Now in the AM standings, I think from our calculations, Aggie Smolka becomes the professional championship leader. Wow. Well done, Aggie. We were just reviewing the replay once again of the Tanny Hanna Giuseppe Romelli incident that brought about this safety car. And whilst we can see the, from further back, we could see the brake discs lit up on the Tanny Hanna car. Whether the car just didn't offer him the braking force that he expected, because he was on the grass, and once you're on the grass, even in bone dry conditions that we've got now, you become a passenger when the wheels are locked up. And It's exactly what it was as he went into Giuseppe Romelli. No question. So there you can see inside the Scuderia Prague garage. Safety car is going to come in at the conclusion of this lap. The lights are not out on the safety car yet, but we've had information from race control that the safety car will come in at the end of this lap. And it's going to be a fraught fight to the finish, isn't it? Because the time the safety car has come in, I would say we're going to be down to probably only 6 and a bit minutes, 5 maybe, of real racing to come. Eric Chung is certainly making sure he sticks with the safety car. So potentially 3 or 4 more laps, that's all. Well, it's not all bad news for the Ghostner family, because Thomas, who took a race win yesterday, is in a podium-paying place at the moment. It's P3 for Thomas Ghostner. Lights have gone out now on the safety car. So it is down to Eric Chung to back them up. And of course, it's down to Christian Kinch to try and anticipate when Eric Chung is going to go for it. There, the order on the left-hand side of your screen. Wow, what a performance from Ken Abe, look, up 12 places. Aggie Smolka also up 12 places, so Eric Chung is backing them all up now. Christian Kinch is virtually welded to him. And we'll try and anticipate when he's going to go for it, and I think he anticipated it quite well. So Eric Chung now gives it large on the loud pedal, so too to Christian Kinch, and they both break away a bit from Thomas Ghostner as they get the green flag for the final 5.5 minutes of this race. We're live from Imola. This is Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. And what a dramatic race it has been. Eric Chung then comfortable through the Variante Tamburello. And we'll head up now towards the Variante Villeneuve. So all the cars then that remain in this race, both Christian Kinch and Eric Chung breaking away a little bit. Now the incident involving cars number 136 and 134 is under investigation. That was the incident that happened under the safety car, you may recall, and there's no question that that would be investigated. So the battle for P1 is between Aggie Smolka and Henrik Janssen in terms of AM drivers. Aggie Smolka at the moment has got the better of him, and Eric Chung remains ahead of Christian Kinch and looks pretty comfortable. Looks like he's got great pace in the car. But Aggie Smolka, I think now, is beginning to be under real threat. So you could see then that Henrik Janssen under braking got a little bit closer to Aggie Smolka. So in the 186 car then, Aggie Smolka, who would go into the lead of the Drivers' Championship, if everything stays this way, brakes hard. Right on the back of Thomas Ghostner to try and protect her position. We're on board now. She works so hard in this Rosso Corsa car. She's been an absolute revelation in terms of driving. Brilliant race driver, Aggie Smolka now. And seeing off the threat of Henrik Janssen just for the moment. What Aggie could do would be to put herself, or to get past Thomas Ghostner, because that would give her something of a cushion, wouldn't it? 3 laps left to run. The incident involving Tani Hanna and Giuseppe Romelli is under investigation as well. Kind of not surprised by that either. So where can Janssen try and provoke a mistake? Well, in trying so hard to provoke a mistake from Aggie Smolka, he makes one himself. And that means that the charge on Aggie Smolka, just for the moment, has gone away. Eric Chung looking pretty comfortable, 4 or 5 tenths ahead of Christian Kinch. Aggie Smolka has Still got Henrik Janssen, though, chasing very, very hard in the battle for P1 in the AMS. So here comes Henrik Janssen then, running out of laps within which to do this as they run downhill now. Eric Chung brakes hard, the brake discs light up, and Christian Kinch follows him all the way as well. And Thomas Gostner stoic there in that P3 position at the moment. Here in replay, here's the failing car of Werner Genter in number 150. I think Eric Chung has got the measure of this. I wish I was as convinced with Aggie Smolka, and I'm not so sure. Aggie, of course, who's been a winner this season. She's taken a win at the Red Bull Ring and also a win at the season opener in Bahrain. Can she hold on for the win here at Imola? Well, of course, Henrik Janssen is doing everything he can. We're on board now with Aggie Smolka then leading the AM classification with just a minute to go in this race. So it's the remainder of this lap plus one more. Eric Chung has broken away now. Thomas Gostner is fancying P2 rather than P3 here. This battle for P2 in the Shell drivers. Christian with a neater line through there than Thomas Gostner. That won't have helped his quest to get on terms. So the run downhill now towards the Rivazza turns 1 and 2. And Eric Chung really running in control of this. And Eric Chung has also been a race winner twice this year. Valencia in Spain and also the Nürburgring in Germany. He's going to cross the timing line with 8 seconds on the clock, which means this becomes the final lap. It's one more lap now for Henrik Janssen to try and find his way past Aggie Smolka. So P1 is Eric Chung in terms of Shell drivers. P1 in terms of AM drivers, it's Aggie Smolka. This really rather shortened race because of 2 safety car interventions has meant it has been something of a sprint of 2 halves. And Henrik taking a look at the inside. And now if he can get better exit and better traction here, but Aggie Smolka very wisely closes the door and says, come and have a go. But he wasn't able to. Kinch and Gostner, I think Christian has probably seen off the threat to his second place from Thomas Gostner. They climb uphill now before dropping down. Eric Chung, who has driven perfectly and has not looked a problem. There's 5-second time penalty to go to the car of Alexander Nussbaum of that indiscretion in the safety car period, and that's hardly surprising. Eric Chung through the first of these Rivazza turns into turn 2 now. Here comes Henrik Janssen with his final blast of effort on Agata Smolka and runs across the grass, the gravel, the tarmac in his quest to do so, but Eric Chung will take the checkered flag to win from Christian Kinch. Aggie Smolka will win for the AM class. Well, as I said, it was a race of 2 sprints, really. As the cars continue to cross the timing line. Not without its drama today. That's for sure. Well, well done to Eric Chung, as is so often the case. And there in the gravel is the 134 car of Alex Fox, who had crossed the timing line, and therefore this is after taking the checkered flag, isn't it? Absolutely. Well, Alex is out of the car and he's okay. Sorry. Well done, Aggie. Under real pressure there. She held on to it. So, oh my goodness. So, hit first of all one side of the track, and then that caused significant damage. That's wiped out the entire side of that 488 on the side that you cannot see. Thankfully, the integral safety of the 488 cars. Now, this was Henrik Janssen's valiant effort to get on terms with Aggie Smolka, which he threw everything at it, but in throwing everything at it, he found that he had to experience every surface known to any racetrack, I think. Well, thankfully, as you can see, Alex Fox is out of the car and is okay. The car, however, somewhat damaged. Eric Chung, as you often see, is just super smooth and unfazed, and therefore will secure his third win, I think, by my calculations, of the season. As I mentioned earlier, Thomas Gosner will be his second time on the podium this weekend, although his first time was as race winner. And of course, Aggie Smolka will be on the top step of the podium for the AMS, as Eric Chung's win means the Shell Championship decision will go to Mugello. Eric Chung, Christian Kinch, Thomas Gosner, Aggie Smolka, Henrik Janssen, Laurent Demers for the Coppa Shell AM. And Eric Chung atop the car. Well done, sir. Bravo, bravo. Well done to Agata Smolka. You could hear her at one point in the car absolutely screaming into the radio. Great job you've done. In replay, Aggie Smolka then, and Henrik doing everything he could, bouncing across the gravel, grass, paved area, painted. Oh. Let's take a look at the highlights now of a somewhat shortened race. Final words of advice for Corinna Gosner as Giancarlo Fisichella looked on and Eric Chung ready to do his level best. So all looked pretty good at this point as the lights went green and they would head up towards Tamburello for the first time of asking. Fons Skeltermar and Corinna Gosner were absolutely side by side. Fons had just got his nose in front and was squeezed a little bit and unfortunately made contact with Corinna Gosner, who in turn hit Murat Kuhadaroglu, who in turn hit Giuseppe Romelli. And therefore, safety car was called for before a lap was completed. Fons Skeltermar would pick up a drive-through penalty. And this was a scary moment, as Aggie Smolka at that point was under pressure from Tanni Hanna. However, she was holding on nicely. And this was another scary moment as Tanni Hanna, seemingly without the braking force that he expected, rattled into the side of the Giuseppe Romelli car. We saw the John Ferrano car out earlier, and Murat Kuhadaroglu was another one of those damaged in that first instance. So that would bring the safety car out for the second time of asking. And despite whatever Henrik Janssen could throw at Aggie Smolka, he wouldn't take the win away from her, and no one would take the win away from Eric Chung, as he took the win in Shell, and Aggie Smolka took the win in the AMS. And there was delight on the pit wall of Rosso Corsa. Confirmation of the classification, then Eric Chung taking the win from Christian Kinch and Thomas Gosner. Then it was Ken Abe and Andreas Segler and Guy Four and Charles Rupp. And von Skeltermar, look, despite the drive-through, makes it back to P8. Then it was Tommy Lindroth, P9. And Ernst Kirschmeyer in a spare car taking P10. The classification that we're looking at is for the Shell drivers at the moment with Werner Genter. And non-classifications for Tani Hanna, John Ferrano, Corinna Gosner and Murat Kuhada-Ruglu. Two podiums to come, of course. One for Shell drivers, one for the AM drivers. And they will be being hustled off to the podium as we speak. Michele Mambrelli, the man in charge of podium presentation duties. You can hear him working hard at bringing Thomas Gosner out onto the track. Onto the podium, you fool. And there is Thomas. There is Christian Kinch. And Eric Chung, who always celebrates the podium. And for Formula Racing then. Ooh. Let's hear the national anthem for Eric. So the anthem plays out then for Eric Chung. And Corinna Chung, his wife, as Roberto Marazzi, then the general manager for the Autodromo Internazionale Imola, makes the trophy presentations to Thomas, to Christian, and to Eric Chung.
The first step of this podium and smile through photos and lift your trophy up. Lift, okay, smile.
Smiling and lifting your trophy. Great podium there for our Shell drivers. Mixed emotions probably for Thomas Gosner up there. He'll be delighted with his P3, but of course his daughter Corinna out. Slow-mos to the top three then. Thomas Gosner taking P3. Taking P2, the Go Motorsport driver, Christian Kinch. And taking the win. Keeping cool when seemingly quite a number of others lost theirs, Eric Chung. So here in the Drivers' Championship, Tani Hanna on 140 points, Eric Chung on 117. So it's, in fairness, mathematically, the top 6 drivers are still mathematically in with a chance of taking the championship. You'd need some others to fall over, but as you can see, it does happen. Laurent Demers is already on the 3rd step of the podium. There's Henrik Janssen, and here comes Agata Smolka. And isn't it nice to see the camaraderie? She nearly goes bottom over top and slips over on the errant champagne left from earlier. Here's the national anthem. Here comes the trophy presentations. Laurent Demers then. So Roberto Marazzi once again does the trophy presentations. There's Henrik Janssen, who right at the end of the race did everything to try and get past Aggie Smolka. But Aggie then with, I think, her third win of the season on the top step of the podium for Rosso Corsa. And in the AM standings, by our calculations, by 15 points is all that splits Agata Smolka, Laurent Demers and Eric Janssen, the three drivers that you see on the podium there. Who's going to be the quickest? I think it was Aggie, you know, with the champagne. And in terms of the classification, confirmation of said. Aggie Smolka, then P1, then Henrik Janssen, Laurent Demers, Alex Fox, Alexander Nussbaumer, David Lim, Henrik Kamstrup, then Mateusz Weibo, Mikhail Simonchik and Roberto Carver occupying the top 10 places as we switch to page 2 of the timing screen now and classification page. Using every word possible to try and use the time before it does swap over to page 2. We don't get page 2. Instead, we get the top 3 in super slow-mo. Got you, Dave. Laurent Demers then takes P3. The 132 car of Henrik Janssen takes P2 for Formula Racing. And for P1, Agata Smolka in car number 186. And the podium celebrations were loud and proud as always in the Ferrari Challenge. And this, a lovely shot of the Imola circuit here. And in the Drivers' Championship, the figures are accurate. Aggie Smolka, Laurent Demers and Henrik Janssen then, all within 15 points of each other. And Alex Fox is still on 92 as well. So it ain't all over until it's over. And it's going to be going to Mugello before we can suss the AM Drivers' Championship in much the same way that, of course, the Shell Drivers' Championship yet to be decided as well. Of course, we always like it to go to the very last race weekend of the season, and our wish is granted certainly with regards to Coppa Shell, and that's good. That last race weekend of the season, of course, towards the end of October at the Mugello Raceway. So as we leave you with some emotions of Imola here, the next race, Trofeo Pirelli race, make sure you join us for that. And bye-bye for now.